pain is part of the process. Poor people blame, rich people learn. And that's the difference that matters. Rich people ask, what can I improve? Poor mindset says, who can I blame? Money should improve your life, not become your identity. And when it becomes your identity, that's when it's chaotic. And that's when it's evil.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. If this is your first time here, you are just about to watch or listen or both. Listen to the best damn podcast you've ever heard in your life. We are known as Old Guys Still Rock, better yet, OGSR. My name is Blair Armstrong of Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker. I'm a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate located here in the beautiful, beautiful Coachella Valley. We're starting to warm up a little bit. If you kind of know where Palm Springs, Palm Desert, that area right now, you always hear like, how do you live here through the summer? Well, you just live through it. And you find other places to go. So
we're going to turn on the AC.
Turn on the AC. I have it set. Here in the studio right now at 71 degrees, kind of the typical, studio temperature. But yeah, we're warming up a little bit. It's kind of got up to 110 the other day. That was fun. But anyway, that's enough of that stuff. So I'm Blair Armstrong, Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker. As I said, I'm a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate. The other guy that you'll hear or see or both talking is the other host of the show and a good friend for mine for almost 30 years, Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated. Man with many, many different hats, from property owner to landlord to detail shops to body shops, financier to a wellness center located in Eugene, Oregon. We'll probably talk about that in a little bit. He is also part of a venture capitalist group. They bought a company called BustedTees.com. It's a great novelty t-shirt website. If you haven't checked it out, we mention it every week. If you still haven't checked it out, what are you waiting for? It's summer. It's t-shirt time. Get those funny conversation starter t-shirts. So go to BustedTees.com. You think that they're a paid sponsor? Well, they're not yet, but maybe someday. But anyway, go check out BustedTees.com. Another thing that Brent is really known for, and if you kind of want to know who he is, he's a great business coach. He's also a great personal coach. And if you want to say, I've never heard this guy, there's no books, he doesn't have like his own podcast, he's not on TV. That doesn't matter. A lot of those guys are fake anyway. But if you want to check him out, we have 153 episodes that you can go watch and see if he's going to fit. So if you're stuck in a loop, either a business or a relationship, go back and watch 153 other episodes, figure out how he can fit into your business world or your personal world, and go from there. So kind of a little bit different type of introductions today. So brother, before we get too much into this today, how are you? What is going on in the 541 Eugene area code?
Well, our weather is still a little bipolar. One day 80, the next day 60. So, yeah, that's been interesting.
Yeah.
Touch base on Busted Tees. We just sent some numbers off to some folks. In the last, from November to today, or I shouldn't say today, last week when we pulled these numbers, 950.1 million views on our social channels. Yeah.
51 million.
Yes.
So what people, if you're just turning in right now, what you don't know is they kind of got their social media scraped about 2 months ago.
About 6 months ago, we actually lost one of our channels.
Yeah.
And that's not including the channel we lost. That channel had 950 million views by itself.
That's incredible, right?
Yeah.
The power of social media.
It's crazy.
That's great. What else is going on? What's going on with Wright Wellness Center? I know that's your wife's business, but I know that you're heavily involved in that.
Yeah, so we're actually going to a dinner meeting tonight, adding some new products and services. Large investment. Looking at some growth. We are looking at a 9,600 square foot facility right across the quad. So we're going to go from about 6,000 square feet to 15,000. hopefully.
That is a very nice
2
wellness
years.
center, right?
2 years, exponential growth, 3x growth in 2 years. Super proud of my wife. She's done an amazing job. Her staff, she just actually hired a new staff member who started today. So super excited about that, which kind of brings us into our subject.
Right.
How people view.
Yeah, that's a big thing out here, right? You see that, or you talk about it, or you hear it, whatever. Money is viewed in so different levels. Like, I don't need that much money. You have the well-to-do, wealthy individual, and you have the other individual with a mindset of, I'm just getting by.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that you deal with that a lot in your coaching stuff, either personal or business. And do you think there is, when you brought up this subject today, and I know that we have notes on this stuff, to just, what are you feeling it is the spirit? I can't think of the right word. The difference between a really wealthy person and someone that is doing well, but just kind of getting by.
Well, it's how they view money. We've talked about this in 153 other episodes. By the way, 154th episode. Pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So it's how they view money as a tool or opportunity, or its perspective, its habits, its emotional control, it's understanding what money actually is. It's easy to say that it's a tool. Mm-hmm. But it's the thing that breaks most marriages. It's the thing that breaks most business partnership. It's the thing that breaks most people, quite frankly. Psychologically, most people were taught backwards lessons about money. Mm-hmm. Most people look at it as a means to an end for survival. Some people think money is status. Some think money is evil, which is an interesting side note. Some people think that rich people are just lucky. Is there any piece of luck that has happened to you selling the $6.5 million house that we were talking about before this episode?
No, dude.
It's hard work. It's perseverance. It's emotional maturity, emotional control. We were talking with the kids last night about emotional control and emotional maturity. To set that tone early in their years is going to help them exponentially later on in life.
And you said something there too, which I really want to touch on, is that I think what you said is, when you said some people look at money as being evil. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that's been a generational teaching, right? Somewhere along the line, maybe, their grandparents went through, or great grandparents went through the Great Depression, and it was always like, you don't need money. See how money treats people. Those people with a lot of money are just bad. They never do anything for society. They just take. But mm-hmm. realistically, people that are typically wealthy have made some good decisions financially.
Very giving,
like off the charts.
Well, because they understand that money needs to flow.
Right.
It's energy. It needs to flow like water. When you see water in a mud puddle and it's stagnant, what does it usually do?
It rots and gets mold. And
it goes bad. So wealthy people understand that money needs to flow. The faster it gets to them, the faster they have to give it away.
Why do you, again, I know that I just brought up a concept of that. Why do you think it's so, how do you change that mindset? And why do you, with the people that you talk to, how do you give them over the hump to start getting rid of that negative thought process that money is bad and it's okay to have a lot of it?
Well, we have to work on the scarcity mindset first and mm-hmm. foremost. You have to shift your mindset. Most people, the bulk of the world grows up poor, right? Or born with I always call it born with a wooden spoon smacked upon your tail feathers, right? It's not. And so they generally view money as this object that is very, very scarce and hard to get because they're trading time for it. So if I have to trade my time, my comfort for this money, then it just really is a scarcity mindset.
So stop right there for a second, because I don't want to miss it, because you said something good. It's you to have more of it, to create a lifestyle that, even though that's all over social media and people would like to have that lifestyle, the amount of work to go in to get that done is sometimes overwhelming for people. I don't want to grind. I don't want to sit there, and I don't want to work a 40, 50, 60 hour a week, which in the beginning you have to, and then you can kind of alleviate a lot of that work.
Well, then you build systems.
Yeah. Like you did, we were talked about last week, right?
And yesterday, you and I talked about this yesterday. You called me out. You called me out several months ago. And so I was like, okay, called out. I'm going to build a system. So I started building a system to eliminate stress, to eliminate mindset. I had to shift my mindset to I get to do all this, to it's okay. It's okay if I don't do all of this, if I get other people involved.
Yeah, and in the same team, again, as we talked about last week on the podcast, and then Brent just said him and I had a conversation on the phone the other day, and I just told him, like, just talked about this. Yes, it's going to cost you money to do this, but look at all this freedom that it gives you. And if you want to plug that hole to put something else in it, yes, you're one of those guys that has the bandwidth to do that. But also you've always been talking about for years and years and years to kind of done, but I'm not done, but I'm kind of done. I'm not done.
It's a guilt mindset. I had to change that in myself. I felt guilty. We talked about this yesterday. I felt guilty for sitting here doing paperwork, watching a podcast, watching a Netflix documentary while I'm sitting here doing paperwork, and everybody else is working. And I felt guilty about that.
Right.
I had to get away from that.
What example are you setting? Is a one set. It's like I've always been saying, okay, do this, build your bandwidth, go, just because you got done, once you master that, you can bring something else on, and you just kind of kept adding on. So going back to, let's erase that part of it. It is too, maybe, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, obviously, maybe even though that you gave up that stuff and like, okay, I do have more time, but now that there's a subliminal or trigger in there somewhere, like, I never want to go back to living in my truck. So I have to fill that gap to make sure that I don't go back living in that truck. So
the mind shift difference is that I have to stop filling that gap with liabilities. I have to fill that gap with assets that are continuing to pay me. And if something's not paying me, then it needs to go away. Or if it's not paying me enough for my hours invested, it's got to go away.
And how hard is that when you lose everything and you build it back up to start relinquishing that power? It's not really power, just control. I would say that control.
I talked about this 5 or 6 episodes ago. I realigned myself with one of the projects that I was doing. In essence, fired myself from that project because that project was only paying me $150K a year, $200K a year, whatever it was. And it was sucking up virtually more than half of my available hours for the week. The scarcity mindset is that's a lot of money.
Right.
Right.
Well, a lot of people hear that like, you just gave away $150,000. What? Did you really? Why would you do something like that?
Well, because I bought time back. Right. And the time is an asset. I'm going to be 54 this year. Time is an asset that I have very limited amount of, especially with my kids, especially with my wife, especially with all of my personal aspirations. I've set some pretty lofty goals. My son and I talk weekly about buying a jet. It's not the jet. It's not the jet set life. I want to buy an asset that's going to pay me. Right. So I want to buy that jet. Yes, I want to use it, but I also want to rent it out.
Right.
And I want to rent it out for more than my payment is. And then it's going to free up time. So when we travel to Florida, it's a 14-hour day.
Yeah.
If I was able to get on that jet, I'd be in Florida in 5.5 hours. The difference in 14 hours versus 5.5, I can get twice as much done, literally 3 times as much done.
Right.
So people see that or hear that and it scares them.
Mhm.
It scares me a little bit, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But, 26 years ago, I was living in my truck, and to
Right.
change that mindset is huge.
Does it make you, when people hear this, so the people that maybe are, kind of making the $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, which is actually a good life.
That's a great life.
It's a great life, right? It's not an airplane life, but it's a great life. What do you say? Like, dude, that's just, it's a status thing. It's a status. Every time I see someone come out, they're promoting status. Are they really promoting status? Or are they showing that, hey, with hard work, you can do this? So again, that's kind of the, how have you been trained through your life? How have you been, what type of information, what type of wisdom have you been given as you've been growing up, that having a personal aircraft or having a jet is not a bad thing. You deserve it if you work really hard for it, to allow what you said is more time. I would love to fly to Hawaii on a private jet.
2 hours.
Right? And just wham, bam. I don't have to go to the airport 2 hours later, 2 hours ahead of time, stand in line. I show up in a car, get in a plane. I'm super chill. And I get over and land, get in another car, and get to our destination. So it is a nicety, but it was one of those things that I think what we haven't really breached on is the wealthy people don't look at it as, look as me. It is allowing me to have more freedom, more time. I get to point A to point B faster, to allow me to do more things, not only with myself or my family, but with my money. Maybe I'm going to a speaking event. Maybe I'm going to a fundraiser to help certain things with that. People think that they're lollygag, just going to wherever they want to go and living a life with cocktails and stuff. Usually guys that are flying on jets are going to do some sort of speaking engagement, helping other people out with that speaking engagement, or going, as I said, to a fundraiser to help, or maybe even invest into a business to help a failing business get better. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes you don't see. And I think that if we admire the Kardashians, we admire these little guys on social media, but there was a lot of work for them to get to that point. Now, I don't want to say that your influencers are probably the best way to follow, but when you do see the successful business coaches and you really peel back the onion, which we talked about a couple episodes ago, and you figure out how did they get there. That's why I always tell people, really peel back the onion and look at Brent. Brent's talking about getting a jet. Does anybody know, besides being on this podcast and maybe some business in Eugene, who Brent Wright is? You know what type of work that he's gone through to have that lifestyle? If you pulled back the books and actually looked into what he had, would that blow your mind? When I first met him, it blew my mind, because it's not about the show with him. It's about practical systems that actually work together. I'm not promoting him as this business coach. I'm just telling there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, sacrifices, not only before he got married, during got married, and he's made those adjustments along the way too with his kids, making sure that he has systems to, I'm gonna have a healthy but wealthy lifestyle, but I'm also going to have a healthy, wealthy lifestyle with my family as well.
So I've talked about this before. I have several billionaire customers in the Eugene area, and there's only like 6 or 8. Okay. So it's not common to interact with these folks. And the fact that I get to interact with 2 of them is huge for me. But they both have different mindsets. I have a billionaire customer that owns 4 jets. He never gets on those jets. Never. I've asked him, when do you, like, if you're going to LA, what do you do? He's like, I find somebody who needs to go to LA. I rent the jet to them, and I don't sit in the most comfortable seat. I sit in the back of the bus. So he rents out his jet. If he has to go to LA, he finds somebody else to pay the ride. Right?
That's awesome.
That is the mindset shift that I'm talking about.
Right.
I have another billionaire customer who doesn't own any jets and owns properties all over the world and is now selling all of his properties because he never gets a chance to get there. And on top of it, when he goes, like if he has to go to his place in Alaska, it takes him a full day of travel, a full day. So he never goes. If he was able to get that jet, find somebody else to pay the ride, he could be there in 6 hours instead of full day. That same billionaire customer, I've been on a flight to Arizona with him. Commercial flight. Me, 2 other guys that I know are sitting in first class or business class, right behind first class. He buys the cheapest ticket and goes and sits in the back. 2 different mindset shifts, same bank account. One has a scarcity mindset, and the other one understands that money is a tool.
You think the scarcity mindset, the guy that sits in the back of the commercial airline, which is not, you just think is like, I want ingrained in his mind, even though I have all this money, I want to stay humble. And if I start showing my money, then I'm going to lose track of where I came from.
And in fact, the guy that has the 4 jets always has dirty pants, a vest on, and it looks like it's been run over by a truck. And the guy that doesn't have any jets is always dressed to the nines.
It's all about the show.
It's all about the show.
Yeah.
Both of them got there by working hard and working smart. One of them has changed his mindset and the other one hasn't. It's because the guy that sits in the back of the commercial flight still is attached emotionally to money and his money decisions. The guy that has the 4 jets is completely detached away from money, emotionally, physically, spiritually, everything.
It's just a tool, right?
It's just a tool.
It's a Craftsman wrench that sits in your box that you can use it for anything.
Yep.
And it really has it has value to a certain extent, but it doesn't have value.
Well, it has value because he's trading time for it, right? And for him to get to LA in 2 hours or less is very important. But he's also using that tool and make sure that somebody else pays for the ride.
That's awesome. I love it.
Right? So
yeah.
The difference is that the billionaire A believes money is always available, even when it's not in front of him. Billionaire B is still attached to money emotionally and figures that it's going to go away.
How do you get people over the hump once they start reaching that level that maybe they have the finances they've never had before in their life to not stop, to keep going, to not get comfortable? I mean, be comfortable with it, but in the same sense as just don't sit there like, okay, you know, we talked about this before, and Ed Milet talks about the thermostat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I got $350,000 in the bank. Okay, I made it. I'm just going to take a little bit of break. How do you keep pressing? And I'm using words that sound like work, but how do you keep, you talked about this earlier in the episode. How do I use my money to keep it moving to make more money? What is a one little golden nugget? It's a longer conversation in your coaching careers, but what's one little nugget to keep that money flowing and understanding when that money is flowing, what you said earlier, that it's going to continue to bring more?
Well, you have to mindset shift. You have to turn money and earning it into a game, like chess.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be emotionally mature enough to make the moves that make sense. And you still want to win. Billionaire A, he looks at it like a game and he's going to win it. Billionaire B looks at it like he's got to hold on to it. It's emotional behavior is what it is. Billionaire A doesn't spend money when he's stressed out. Billionaire B spends money when he's stressed out. He impulse buys. He's trying to impress people. If he's had a bad day, he goes out and buys something because it makes him feel better. Billionaire A buys something every day regardless of how he feels.
That's a good one right there. See, that's a golden nugget, because it goes back to, and it also goes back to what you said, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, that you drain your account every day.
Purposefully.
Yep. Because it sets the trigger, it sets the mindset that, okay, the money did what it needed to do today, but we have to get we'll have to do more tomorrow to make sure that money is doing what it needs to be. So it's in a constant state of flow, right?
And that's a tough space.
Yeah.
And it's tough for me and it's tough for others. I calculate risk. Billionaire A calculates risk. Billionaire B, he's not calculating. He's trying to get the cheapest price for the highest quality always. He's worried about the money going away. And I too am worried about it. It is a struggle every single day to look at that bank account and knowing purposefully that I drained it, which is the Vulcan mind F. But seeing those zeros or seeing a negative number on a spreadsheet is just a game I play with myself, because I know that I still have a mild amount of scarcity mindset, right, but I'm using that scarcity as a tool to build assets.
And when people hear that, so you're literally spending all your money out of your account one time, there's still I
have a calculated risk. I still have a backup plan.
Yeah.
I still have...
You have a slush fund, right?
Yeah. I still create an opportunity to cover all my bases if needed, or have a plan in place just in case my calculated risk doesn't pan out.
Mm-hmm. It's not like you're going to zero every day.
It doesn't always pan out, guys. Doesn't always pan out.
It's, I always talk, I use this, kind of put a different visual on this. I have in golf, there's a couple times I'm like, okay, this is going to be a risk reward shot.
Yeah.
It's either going to turn out amazingly awesome or I am going to be in a world of poop. And when it works out well, then you're like, that was a great shot. And it's kind of the same thing you're talking about. So you have a risk reward. Like, okay, I can see where the reward side of this, if it hits right, but if I don't take the risk to do it, I'm never going to know if it works out or not. And I have the means to take this risk, and it's not going to change my mind if I miss this risk. Is that the same thing that you have? I'm talking about golf right now, but I want to, which I know that you love sports so much, but I just, I always use that just in mindset, because I know, and I guess I can now apply this to my finances. I mean, obviously it has to be a little bit calculated. If there's a window of opportunity and I don't take it, then yes, I'm going to miss the shot. Yeah. I'm going to miss a shot 1,000% of the times. The same thing Michael Jordan said it. I'll miss 1,000 shots.
Well, you only miss the shots you don't take,
right?
Right. So it's okay to make mistakes. I had a long talk with my son about this last night. So at night we do prayers, and then I do conversation, and then we go over what he's reading, and I ask him about his day, and it's 15 to 20 minutes downtime that is very rewarding. One of the things that he's most afraid of is making mistakes. And I'm trying to shift that, because mistakes will be made every single day. I told him yesterday, I said, how many mistakes do you think I made today? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? How many times did I try? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? How many times did I win? And he goes, maybe once. Exactly. Now remember, guys, true wealth, and Blair talks about this all the time, about me being the silent but deadly guy. Truly wealthy people, and I'm not talking money. I'm talking emotionally wealthy, spiritually wealthy, psychologically wealthy, and monetarily wealthy, move quietly. It's not the social media influencers. It's not all the things. Those people are probably broke as a joke. You don't always recognize real wealth, because real wealth usually looks calm, not loud, not ostentatious. I learned that the billionaire A had 4 jets in passing.
Did it shock you when you heard that? No.
Not a bit. And his 4 jets are moving every single day. I go, how often are you on your jets? He goes, twice, 3 times, 4 times a year. But they're never parked. Never parked. They're a tool.
Asset, what you talked about.
It's an asset. He's got $10 to $15 million worth of jets, and he's never on them.
That's awesome.
I'm talking about a guy who moves properties like chess pieces. I went into his office one day and he had a whiteboard. He's got like a 30-foot whiteboard that's 6 feet tall. And he's on one of these rolling ladders. And he's going over and he's moving here, moving there, and he's got this asset, and he's moving things literally like chess pieces. We need to move this one to this corporation. We need to sell this off. We need to move it over here. In fact, he sells stuff every day from one corporation to another corporation. I do this guy's payroll. And I'm not going to get into the details, but his payroll is like 7 figures every week, every single week, every Wednesday when he turns in payroll. Just his tax liability is over $1 million.
So we have, most of our, I'd say a majority of our listeners and followers on here are looking to continue to be better and have that style for. But what do you say? What would you say to a person that's listening or watching to this right now? Like, Brent, I don't want to sacrifice that. That's just unattainable in my mind. Would you tell them, if I heard that and I said, then don't ever judge what they do or saying they forgot where they came from? Would you say that same thing to them?
I would. Here's the difference, people. Poor people in mind, spirit, psychologically, and in money, fear risk. Do you know the one thing that rich people fear the most? Regret. They fear not taking the risk. That's the difference. It's short-term thinking versus generational wealth building thought process. And I'm not talking about reckless gambling, folks, because there's reckless gambling on both sides of the coin. We talked about this around Christmas time. I don't gamble, but you would look at me and you would say, you are the most ostentatious gambler that I've ever met. But in my mind, I don't gamble. I make calculated risks. I try to figure out risk versus reward. Am I afraid? Every day. Do I let fear drive my decisions? No. Because again, I go to the 4 decision-making process that's right up on my wall. Does this serve me? Is this reasonable? Does it get me to my outcome? Is this consistent with my values and standards?
And that's everything.
And that's it.
Simple.
Money is an ally. It's not something that's distant. I had one of my coaching clients tell another one of my coaching clients about 6 months ago, the one thing that I like about Brent is that money flows to him like water. If you want to make a lot of money, coach with Brent, and he'll teach you how to make money if you listen and follow what he says. You got to follow the play.
Just real quick, your mic's being funny, so maybe go lean back to the right. There you go.
How about that? That better?
Yeah, I heard it. We got everything. It was just a little shallow, so that's fine. So, I was just going to say the same thing you are. It's okay if you are listening to this and like, yeah, that sounds all fun and dandy. It's a great rainbow and a butterfly and unicorn type of thing thought to have. I would love to do it. I just don't know how to do it. And we talk about this all the time. Why would you, if that's something that you want to do, or in the back of your mind, you would love to have that lifestyle, which pretty much all of us want to have that lifestyle, and to live that life and to have some more financial freedom and get to do what you want to do and to invest and make your money work for you in a better way. Why would you not reach out and get a business coach or a personal coach like Brent, or invest in that? And just really make a full-time investment. There's so many different things that we would invest into. We can invest into golf clubs. We invest in reading books or going to seminars and stuff like that. But if you are doing that right now, first of all, are you applying what you're learning? Second of all, are you really letting someone know what you want to attain and then get help figuring out how to attain it? Because I think that's the big thing that we miss in getting with reading books or going to seminars is like, yeah, it sounds all great, but I still need further education. I need further wisdom of the step-by-step process, or if we get stuck in a loop.
You need execution.
Execution, okay.
So I'm going to tell you a quick story. I met a guy about 3 or 4 years ago. I was at a conference, and I'm talking with him. And I asked him, I said, well, where are you staying? He goes, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You came from Texas to Salt Lake and you don't know where you're staying? He goes, I spent my last $16,000 to come here and get one-on-one coaching with the keynote speaker. I'm spending the day at his house. I go, you don't even have a backup plan? He goes, I'll likely sleep on a park bench tonight. But tomorrow, I'm going to be at this keynote speaker's house and I'm going to spend the day with him. And if I get one thing that pushes me over the edge, then I can earn that $16,000 back in one day. He risked it all.
Wow.
And I can tell you, I've been following this guy. His post this morning, he bought a brand new AMG two-door coupe in green. That's a beautiful car, by the way.
Yeah.
And
It's
a beautiful color.
Yeah.
And he said, and I quote, it's not my supercar yet, but it's one step closer to my supercar.
It's always the next step, right?
And
it's always the next step.
He bought a house a year ago.
Wow.
And 3 or 4 years ago, he was prepared to sleep on a park bench to get that one golden nugget. What are you willing to risk to get where you need to go? That's what the question I would ask you. Because, guys, failure isn't the opposite of success.
So with that being said, what I want to go back to say is and ask that question about risk. What are you willing to risk? So just in case we missed that, and I can kind of put that back together.
What are you willing to risk? Are you willing to risk comfort? Are you willing to risk it all to get to your dreams and goals?
That's a hard one, right? When you have a little bit of comfortability, it's like, gosh darn, I'm going to keep pushing, but I know that I can risk more.
Well, do you truly believe that you're worthy of being wealthy?
I think that's a mind shift. That I think that it's a learning experience, coming from where I am. I think that I deserve it, but I think there's still some scarcity of how, we talked about the decision, how it all went away quickly.
Yeah.
And not being too long ago about 13, 14 years ago, it scares you, but there's times that we've made some decisions and gotten some stuff that there wasn't a lot of money in the bank. And we're like, we've got to do this to get to the next level. And sure enough, by the grace of God and faith and having that, and it works out. But it sure scares you when you're making that decision to do it. But we just know, as I can't stay at status quo. I can't stay at this level of real estate for the rest of my life. We have a lot of things to accomplish, not only for the team or for myself, but for the team. I'm now invested to. My risk is I promise these guys is I'm going to make you better than me. That's a tremendous risk. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of money that's going to go into that. But I'm also I'm investing in them. I'm turning them, in essence, to an asset. I don't make a significant amount of money from them, but the ripple effect, going back to an unfinancial wealthy aspect, to help them attain a lifestyle that they have been searching for and get them to that level, will be more valuable than anything that could be paid me monetarily.
Well, this is going to sting a little bit, guys, but it's necessary, and pain is part of the process. Poor people blame, rich people learn, and that's the difference that matters. Rich people ask, what can I improve? Poor mindset says, who can I blame?
Very easy to point a finger, right? All right, man.
It's better to point the finger back at yourself. In our conversation yesterday, I was pointing the finger back at myself.
Yeah.
Are we still good?
We're good. You still good?
Good. No.
All right.
Yep.
Go ahead.
It's breaking up a little bit, but that's
okay.
All right.
We'll figure it out. We'll go back.
So just to clarify, hear me now?
Yep. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good deal. So, yes. So just to clarify, guys, rich isn't just money. We talked about this several episodes ago. Real wealth is health, and we talk about that in the Wellness Center. Real wealth is time. Real wealth is peace. Real wealth is relationships. Real wealth is purpose. And most of all, freedom. We talked about that aggressively during this conversation today. It's buying back time. It's the freedom to do so. Is it important? Sure, money's definitely important. But money should improve your life, not become your identity. And when it becomes your identity, that's when it's chaotic. And that's when it's evil.
I love it.
Money just amplifies who you are. I know people that have gotten wealthy and they're just rich a-holes. I know people that have gotten wealthy and it's amplified their giving and amplified their commitment to making other people better. And it's amplified exponentially their ability to go make a damn difference. And that's what we're calling you guys to do every single time we're on here, is just go make a damn difference. And if this helps you to do that, let us know.
I love it. Well, with that being said, you guys, I hope that you go back and watch this episode a couple of times. I hope that you reach out to us with a couple different questions. Until we see each other next week, stay safe, but most of all, God bless.